In this video, I'm gonna talk to you guys about chicken keeping 101. I'm gonna cover 5 things that I think is very important for you guys to know so you have happy, healthy chickens. So the first thing you gotta ask yourself is, what kind of chicken do you wanna get? We get asked that all the time, and honestly, I think people get it wrong because they get so hung up on reading the characteristics, the behaviors of different breeds of chickens. And I'll be honest with you, yeah, you can use it as a general rule of thumb, but honestly, chickens are kind of a lot like people. You're not gonna get just one type of behavior because of a certain type of person or whatever. You do have your standard go-to chickens. Your most common ones are like your Rhode Island Red, maybe your Dominiques, Barred Rocks, Welsh Summers, things like that. But my thing is, when you're thinking about what chicken should I get, I like to answer that with what type of chicken should you not get. And I know a lot of people are gonna hate me for saying this, but it's true. One of the breeds you never wanna get, unless you are prepared to deal with the things that come along with, Silkies. All right, Silkies, they shouldn't even be called a chicken, quite honestly, because they're not very chicken-like. They don't have the feathers. They're not very smart. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people think chickens are dumb. They're not dumb at all. They're actually very intelligent. But my opinion when it comes to what type of chicken you should get, I would get the one that you think looks the most beautiful. If you are trying to get technical, yes, there's gonna be a difference between, am I gonna get a good egg layer? You do have your breeds of chickens that are gonna be known for excellent egg production, like your Rhode Island Reds, your Sex Links, your Comets. But when people ask me what type of chicken should I get, again, I like to mention what type of chicken not to get, and that is the Silky. Any of the other breeds you're gonna be just fine with. The success of your flock has all to do with the chicken coop. All right, so if you're thinking about getting chickens, there's 2 different ways to get chickens, locally or through the mail. I personally love getting chickens through the mail if you're not in a hurry, and that is because you can actually be very specific to what breed you want. And then the other thing, you know, when it comes to what type of chicken you should get, one of the things that you'll learn is after you get over what chicken looks most beautiful to you, you'll start to realize how beautiful the eggs are. And a lot of times you might want to get something like an olive egger. They're really not the most beautiful looking chicken, but they lay one of the best looking eggs ever. So you can go through the mail. There's all kinds of hatcheries that are out there, especially in the Midwest, and they do a really good job making sure they get you your baby chicks to you safely, either overnighted in 2 days. The other option is you can buy them locally. Of course, you can go to your big box stores and they'll have them in those those Rubbermaid containers with the heat lamp and the water. You hear them chirping when you walk in the door. The problem with that is you just don't really know what you're gonna get. I'm not gonna say you can't trust them, but there's so many times I have gone to the big box stores, bought chickens, and I feel you have a much higher probability of getting roosters, even though they say they're sexed. And it seems like nowadays everyone's trying to invent a new type of chicken. I really don't get it. You know, you just really don't know what you're gonna get. So I do love the professionals at these large hatcheries that can ship you your baby chicks. One of my favorite things is when it comes to chicken housing, and honestly, it's the most important part about making sure you have a successful backyard flock. Now, in my opinion, it is critical when you're shopping around for a chicken coop or you're designing and building your own chicken coop that you follow these basic things I'm about to mention. One is size matters. Don't go too small. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is they build their chicken coop way too small. Now, when it comes to, okay, Matt, what size chicken coop should I get? The rule of thumb is inside the hen house, the chickens only do 2 things. They sit on the roost bars and they sleep at night, or they're gonna go inside the egg hutch and lay eggs. Now, I like what I call the 1 foot rule. Industry standard, they're gonna tell you 8 inches per hen on the roost bar. I like a king size bed. I like to go 1 foot per hen on the roost bar, so it also makes for easy math. The other thing is, one of the common myths with backyard chickens is that you have to have a nest box per chicken, and that's not true. You'll get on average 4 to 6 hens laying per nest box, but sometimes it'll actually be even more than that. Leave yourself plenty of room when you're designing a chicken coop or you're out shopping, lots of room for ventilation. This is the other key thing about making sure your chickens are healthy and stay healthy. All a hen house does is it mimics protecting the tree branch that the chickens will go up to at night to stay safe? Well, by having a hen house surround that tree branch, that roost bar inside, we're allowing the chickens to stay safe so they don't get picked off by nocturnal predators, but also makes it easy for us to have access to the eggs with the egg hutch. Now, the other key thing when it comes to Backyard Chickens 101, when it comes to the chicken housing, one of the things I love is making sure the chicken's free range. But even if you free range all the time, it is critical to have a run attached to your hen house. Reason for that is you will find times that you may want to keep the chickens inside the run. You might have to isolate them. You might have to medicate them. There could be, numerous reasons why you got to keep your chickens inside the run, but free ranging is always very important. But if you have a run, I cannot emphasize this enough, make sure you got a solid roof over your run. You're gonna wanna deal with a dry problem, not a wet problem, trust me. And also make sure the run is tall enough for you to walk inside. One of the most important parts of a chicken coop is this right here. This is your egg hutch. This is where the chickens are gonna go into the egg hutch from the inside of the hen house and lay their eggs, right? There's a lot of egg hutches out there that I think are built wrong, and that is because they have a roof that hinges up. I don't like that. I like the drop down nest box door, and the reason for that is if you're a child or if you're 7 foot tall, everyone has easy access to the eggs. But also, not all of us are only gonna go in and collect these eggs when the chickens are not in there laying. Trust me, it doesn't work that way. So if you have a chicken in there laying an egg and you gotta collect eggs and you lift up this roof, you're gonna spook that chicken. They are very aware of aerial predators. She is gonna jump out and you're gonna stress her out, and it's completely unneeded. If she's in there laying right now and you open up the door, she will not freak out, I promise you. You might even be able to go underneath her and actually collect the eggs. Now, when it comes to the egg hutches, in ours particularly, and a mistake that people make is they think that you have to have a nest box for each hen. That is not true. Rule of thumb, 4 to 6 chickens per nest box on average will definitely do the job. However, you'll get 8 to 10 chickens sharing a nest box, and that can actually cause a lot of drama. One of the things I love about our egg hutches is to minimize that drama, minimize that fighting, is you can actually come in and easily remove a divider, take 2 nest boxes, turn it into 1 big nest box, fill it up with the nesting material, and the chickens will share that without all the fighting. All right, one of the other things that I think is very important, you can have the perfect egg hutch, the perfect nest boxes, but if you don't have the perfect nesting material, there is a chance your chickens are not gonna wanna lay inside the egg hutch. Now, I say it all the time, just mimic what chickens do in nature, and that is they're gonna go get nesting material. They actually don't wanna go get pine shavings, they don't wanna go get carpet, they don't wanna go get little tiny pieces of material and try to build their nest. Now, one of the things that we are experimenting with here lately is this material right here. This is the bast fiber of industrial hemp. And the reason why I love this is, check this out. This material is long and skinny. Because it comes from the outside of the plant, that part is meant to protect it, so it's repellent. And it's very bouncy, it's very nest-like, and the chickens so far absolutely love it. All right, so again, when it comes to choosing what nesting material to use inside your egg hutch or your nest box, think about long material that can get locked in and made into a nest. Always encourage the chicken's instincts. Something that is also very important when it comes to having chickens, that is making sure you're feeding them and giving them water. It's not very complicated. There are many different contraptions to hold your chicken feed. Honestly, one of the things you always want to remember when it comes to your everyday food, whether it's going to be a pellet, whether it's going to be crumbles, is to make sure that you have a large enough container to hold that chicken feed that is going to be conducive to your life, if that makes sense. If you're someone that wants to make sure you have a reason to come out to your chicken coop every day, you can get away with a smaller feeder. If you're someone that's like, you know what, I only want to spend maybe once a week refilling the chicken feeder, then get something larger. Now, the size of that is going to change based on the number of chickens you have. The other thing that's going to change that is also if you're free ranging, or if you're also doing one of my favorite things is, and that is bringing table scraps out to the run area wherever your chickens are and supplementing their food with your table scraps. Now, in this particular situation, we have a feeder here that is on a pedestal, which I like a lot, because the other problem that you can have with feeders is you're potentially inviting pests, in this case, rodents, all right? And you wanna always make sure anytime you're dealing with pests, don't give them a reason to be there. And this one being up on a pedestal makes it very difficult for mice and rats to get into it. Now, our chickens currently right now have just transitioned from being young ladies, young chicks, to adult laying hens. So we're actually gonna start transitioning from a high protein crumble feed, all right, and transition to what I like to use when they're adults, and that is a pellet feed that is for egg laying, which means we're gonna reduce the amount of protein, kick up the calcium a little, and it's really just as simple. Now this is a 40-pound bag, and I'm gonna see if we can fit it all into this feeder silo here, which it did, it fit perfectly. And I had maybe about 10 pounds still down in the bottom. And this is gonna make for a great transition for the chickens. And honestly, because I got 6 chickens and about 50 pounds of feed, I can go 2 weeks without having to worry about them running out of food. What I like to do when giving our chickens water is use a water bar type system, just like here. And it all starts right here with the stainless steel trigger. The chickens push on it, it's spring loaded, it's like a one-way valve. It allows the water that's coming from the rain barrel, the gravity's pushing that water down, coming through the water bar, and just like that, the chickens will come over, peck at it, and drink from it. And because it's spring-loaded, it actually won't drip like the vertical nipples do. But also what I like about it is it keeps the water clean, and it gives the chickens something to do. You never want your chickens to get bored. All right, so one of the best parts about having a backyard flock is the eggs. So if we come up to our egg hutch, and go in and get the eggs just like these ones, that is just one wonderful feeling where you'll just be so happy about having backyard chickens. Now, how many eggs are you gonna get? How many eggs can you expect? What, a week, per day, per year? Honestly, that varies. And you can read all kinds of research on, well, this breed of chicken lays this number of eggs. As long as you got the right coop, the right setup, the chickens are gonna produce well. On average, it's gonna be about 1 egg every 30 hours, okay? And that also is when they're in their prime. As a chicken gets older, the egg production is gonna go down. Here's the other thing too, check this out. Look how small. So these girls are young. They just started laying eggs. Their eggs are gonna be really small, but as they get a little bit older, these eggs will definitely get bigger. And here's the other thing I'm talking about. Look at that beautiful, we must have an olive egger type chicken in there laying that beautiful 70s avocado green. It's speckled, absolutely beautiful. And one of our chickens, again, she's not a Welsh Summer, but she's got a touch of Welsh Summer in her. Almost looks like a Welsh Summer egg, even though it's gonna be more speckled. Yeah, so that's the eggs. And the other thing too, the beauty of having your own backyard chickens and collecting your own backyard eggs, believe it or not, they have on the outside of the egg called a bloom, which means you do not need to refrigerate your egg, okay? You do not need to clean it. It's actually not a good thing to go in and clean your egg. If you do, then you're gonna need to refrigerate it. All you gotta do is collect your eggs, put them in a basket, put them in a bowl, keep them at room temperature. That is the way nature intended it. Again, guys, hope you liked the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comments section. As always, we would love to hear from you. Later.